Hey there everybody, Andy here from Legendary Tales, and welcome back to Tales of Legend, a tabletop role-playing game for your worlds, your heroes, and your stories. In our last video, we went through the basics of combat, and our poor Andy's first hero almost lost his life to 3 boars. But don't you worry, he's about to be rewarded. Today we are going to talk about leveling up, and how these things are different between a level 1 and a level 2 hero. Thanks for joining in, now let's begin. Okay, so, first things first, we should take a look at the hero development table. Our aptitude die stays the same. We gain 1 aspect point, so that's really cool. But the biggest impact is that we gain our 3rd action point at level 2. Now, the complexity of the game starts to open up a little bit. In Tales of Legend, the limiting resource of any given creature is the number of action points they have. The only limit to your action points is that you cannot take the same action more than twice in the same turn. So now Andy's first hero can shoot 2 arrows and still move, or take any of the other actions available to him. If I want to take a more defensive action, I could guard. If I want to help an ally, I could assist. If I want to use an elixir that I have, I could take the use action. Or, if I have no other use for that action, I could save it for a trigger action. We will go into these more advanced aspects of combat in a future video, but for now, let's walk through how we will level up Andy's first hero. Here are the rules for leveling up, just under the hero development table. The first thing we do is assign any new aspect points. We do have 1 new aspect point at this level. Now we can't put it in grace since the cap is still 3. So instead, let's put another point into skill, raising skill to 2. The next thing we do is calculate resolve. We gain 5 resolve from leveling up, and an additional 3 resolve for our new aspect point. That's 8 total, so our maximum resolve increases from 17 to 25. Next, we calculate skill points. Since we now have 2 aspect points in skill, we will increase our skill points from 1 to 3. That is adding our skill points from level 1 and our skill points from level 2. Now that we have 2 new skill points to assign, I think I want to place both in wilderness. Now, anytime I am asked to make a wilderness roll, I roll a d20, I add a d4 for my aptitude die, and then I add 2. That fits with the hunter vibe. Now all we need to do is mark our 3 action points and select our new skill aspect bonus. I think I'll take Toolmaster this time. This allows me to acquire 2 more tools from the background options and have the appropriate training for them. I think I want to stay with my hunter theme, so I'm going to select climbing gear and fishing gear. Now I'll be able to get supplies in the forest for me and a whole group of my fellow heroes when I go on adventures. This is the level up process for Tales of Legend. Start with aspect points, then calculate skills, resolve, etc. And then assign your aspect bonuses and make any adjustments. Pretty simple. There are 2 other things you need to consider when leveling up: heritage bonuses and aptitude die increases. For example, at level 3, we will gain our 2nd heritage bonus. Since we are mortal, that means we will be getting 2 aspect points at that level instead of 1. But in the full game, there are 10 different heritage options with a variety of different heritage bonuses. Finally, when you reach level 4, you will get a major boost. Your aptitude die will graduate from a D4 to a D6. This increases everything you have aptitude with, including weapons, aspects, and skills. So when the time comes, you will be changing everything that says 1D4 on your sheet to 1D6. Since this is going to be a short video compared to some of the others I've done, I also want to take this time to talk about the options that are available in the full version of the game that you don't see in the free version. There are 7 major elements that are omitted from the free version: the heritage options, the advanced aspect bonuses, the archetype bonuses, magic gear, enchanting rules, all of the spell options, and the creature examples. Let's talk about each quickly. As I've mentioned before, there are 10 total heritages. These are not hard and fast species or ancestries and can be biological, cultural, or magical in nature. Whatever works best for your flavor of game. We've already talked about mortal, and here are the other 9. Bestial. These are for characters that want to be animalistic in some way. These could be your cat people, lizard folk, snake people, werewolves, things of that nature. Notice how it doesn't matter if this was a species you were born into or the result of some sort of transformation. It doesn't even have to be a full species. It could just be a part of your bloodline that shows up just a little bit. What matters is the mechanics. Bestial heroes have heightened senses and increased movement speed. Monstrous. In Tales of Legend, monster refers to non-human-like monsters that are intelligent. This would include your goblins, orcs, trolls, giants, fish people, etc. So a hero that has a monstrous heritage might be a full-blooded orc, or a half-giant, or whatever you want to consider for them. Mechanically speaking, they are particularly strong and tough compared to mortals. Fairies. So many fantasy tropes rely on the more exotic, long-lived creatures that are typically associated with nature. In Tales of Legend, those types of creatures are called fairies as a whole. So if you were playing an elf character, mechanically, do you want it to be mortal or fairy? Either work just fine, but the heritage bonuses give different flavors. For example, one of the bonuses for being a fairy is that you are immortal unless slain. That sort of thing. Elemental. Dragon people, merfolk, earthbenders. If you have a connection with an elemental force in your character concept, you might want to have an elemental heritage. Are you born with it? Cursed with it? Is it part of your culture? That is for you and your Legend Master to decide. But who doesn't want to play a hero that is really good at playing with fire, right? Blessed. Can you really have a fantasy world without some sort of divine beings? Not that you need gods in your world, but angels maybe? Or at the very least, people who have a connection to things like light. That's what the blessed heritage is for. Whether you are a priest, demigod, or simply wield the powers of the sun, we've got you covered. Cursed. And of course, if we have blessed, we have to have the opposite. Maybe you are evil. Maybe you are descended from a bloodline of devils. Maybe you were a normal person that became cursed when experiencing something from another world. Or maybe you made a pact with something dark in order to gain power. Regardless, shadow powers abound. Half-life. I had to put in an option for those that have some sort of connection with undeath. In this case, it's more like partially undead. But if you want to play as a zombie or a vampire person, go nuts. Magical. Born with magical powers? Studied to become a mage? Had a freak accident with the magical forces of the universe? Whatever your backstory, if you want to be really, really good at magic, here's your option. Psionic. I'm one of those people who thinks that magic and psionic should be two very different things. So if you want to read minds and be really good at scrambling people's brains, you might want to pick the psionic heritage. I have other heritage in the works for a supplemental book, but I think that these generally cover most of your core fantasy ideas. And even if I don't use the terminology you would, feel free to pick the set of heritage bonuses that make the most sense to you and just call it something different. If you want to see the 4 bonuses each of these heritages get, please consider buying the full game. Next, we have the advanced aspect bonuses. When you have at least 3 aspect points in a single aspect, and it becomes time for your 4th, you get a new list of bonuses that you can pick from that use the previous bonuses as prerequisites. They are more powerful and more flavorful. From advanced physicality bonuses that allow you to hit really, really hard, to advanced focus bonuses that allow you incredible spellcasting options, when you get the option to have at least 4 aspect points starting at level 5, you could already be considering these powerful bonuses. Now, if you have looked at the hero development table enough, you'll notice that heritage bonuses end at level 7. Then starting at level 9, you get something called archetype bonuses. These are special bonuses that have very specific requirements and evoke particular fantasy archetypes. And these are the most powerful bonuses in the game. Did you want to be able to cast any spell? Or craft magic items? Or even boost your aptitude die beyond what you should be able to? We have 15 different archetype bonuses to choose from, all allowing you to customize your hero even further. Something I wanted to make sure Tales of Legend had was something to do with all the wealth you accumulated on your adventures. Now, this depends on the magic level of your Legend Master's world, but in the full version of the game, we have multiple different magical items called magic gear, as well as rules for using your money in major cities to customize your weapons and armor with different assorted enchantments. Once you reach the higher tiers of play, it will be assumed that you have spent a significant chunk of your resources to boost your gear for combat. And who doesn't love options to customize your gear for yourselves? I would personally love to play an Elemental Heritage Spellblade with a sword that catches fire. Oh boy, this video is getting longer faster. So let me wrap up by telling you this. In a future video, I'm going to be outlining how the magic system works in Tales of Legend. In the free rules, we only have 2 spell options, Magic Attack and Restore. I'm going to list the other 8 in the book, and I'm sure you'll have a rough idea of what they do. So the 10 spell options are Magic Attack, Restore, Enhance, Imbue, Deceive, Discover, Manipulate, Connect, Transport, and Ward. I look forward to showing off what these spells can do in future videos. And last but not least, even though I gave you the rules as to how to make balanced creatures, I think the game masters should design their own monsters for their games. I do include 50 creatures that you can just take and play with. I'm working on a creature compendium. The goal is to have 300 to 500 creatures in the book, but we'll see how many we end up with. And that is where we are going to end today. I hope you have everything you need to make your future Tales of Legend heroes. Next time, we will be taking a look at the game from the perspective of the Legend Master. I hope you will join me for that next video. If you are enjoying these tutorials, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, taking a look at our website at legendarytalesrpg.com, and joining our Discord server. I hope to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day, everybody.